back to another episode with Just Banning It. Let's go. Proudly brought to you by Icheck TPMS.
Bulk going on here. Guys, welcome. Hello. How are you? This episode, it's a tricky one. We've sat down a long time and tried to work this one out, but it is the rising costs of travel, and can we still afford it? So we're going to touch base on our budget from then, which is 3.5 years ago, to now, and we're going to talk about the differences. We've worked out a few things, and you can see the difference in price. Now, another thing I'd like to touch on is, we get a lot of messages of people who have been wanting to do a lap around Australia, or do it full time, or a couple years, or 6 months, or whatever it is, and they've been saving up for a few years to do this. And unfortunately, with these rising costs, they might not be able to do it for another 2 years to try and save that extra bit of money. So we're hoping that we can touch on our budget, honest budget. This is our budget, guys, like everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Yes, it's our budget, because everyone eats different, everyone travels different, everyone does things different, and
Family sizes are different. Cars are different sizes, uses different fuel. So we understand that that these figures might not add up to what you guys would think you would spend, but give us a few minutes of your time tonight and listen to our budget, because maybe it might make sense. You are so professional.
Oh,
Give
right.
us a few minutes of your time.
Now, yes, the big one everyone talks about. Who's going to do this one? Sue, you haven't written down who does what here.
All right. Well, I'll let you do that one, because that's
all right.
that's Derek Land.
The most. You know what the funny thing is? I saw this thing going around on Instagram, Facebook about this guy asking questions, and it's quite funny. He goes, "What do you talk about in the campsite, etc.?" Well, the first one is, and it's the most talked subject amongst travellers: fuel. We have a diesel vehicle. It is a 79 series Land Cruiser, but when we first set off, we had a Ford Ranger. All right, now
Very different fuel consumption.
when did we leave?
We left in January
2020?
2020.
When COVID hit, we left that January.
Yeah.
The average fuel price for 2020 was $1.26 per litre on average. Okay, we just talking about the cruiser, because we've changed vehicles. If we had to fill up a cruiser back then, it cost us $163 per tank, and we average 500 kilometres on a tank, give and take.
God, is this your maths lesson coming?
Yes, I'm trying to get my numbers right, because when I did something last time, people were like, your numbers don't add up. So I've tried to put a little bit of effort into this one. Last year, 2020.
COVID. Oh, yeah, 2022.
COVID, the average fuel cost that we could research. Now, please, every platform was probably going to give
And
you
it makes sense, because I remember the costs, and they were blooming high.
$2.12. All right. This year, she's come back a little bit. Funny enough, you talk about actually something dropping back a bit. $1.74 per litre.
On average.
So 130 litres on average is $225 per tank. Hang on, Sue, you haven't done my calculation yet. What's the difference here?
So 225
minus 163.
minus 163.
Not quite prepared.
160. So that's 37 plus 25 is 62.
Nah,
62.
No.
Oh God, here comes the problem. Is you don't even use the calculator right, my sweet.
Apparently not. Oh, I didn't do it there. 22 minus 163. Right, $62 difference.
$62. Is that what it came up to on your calculator? 62.
Yeah.
How much were you out?
I said 62.
Oh, right. Okay, so we used to save $400 a month on fuel on the Ford. And then when we got the Cruiser, we upped that a little bit. And then last year we upped that again. And then this year we've maybe even be able to pull that back a bit. But we budget $750 to $900 a month for fuel. That'll give us around and up to 2,000 kilometers to travel a month. Now that might sound like, well, that's a lot of kilometers, because even I've done it. But I go, geez, 2,000 k's, we'll never do that. But I tell you what, it all adds up. Currently where we camped, we're at a very low cost camp here around the Exmouth area. So every 2-3 days we have to drive to Coral Bay to get water, get some bread, milk, and all those little bits and pieces, and drive back. And those 2,000 k's go away quite quickly, to be fair.
It also depends what state you're in, because let's be realistic. If you're travelling WA town to town, it's a lot further than if you're in New South Wales. So you do bigger distances. So you might save when you're in New South Wales because you're dotting along, but WA, longer trips.
But now 2,000 kilometres a month, you might do a little less this month, might do a little more that month. We've just taken an average. It's 24,000 k's a year. So, yeah, it sounds about right, really, if you think about it. So,
would you like me to get you a whiteboard for the next...
Yes, please. We're not going to get a whiteboard where we are. Can barely get... What do we battle to get the other day?
Okay,
like
just a little love, my sweet. You're on point number one. Point number one.
Okay. So that's our fuel. Now we're going to break this all down for you and give you a final figure at the end of this episode. So hang back for that. So we're just going to break it down a little bit on each subject.
Yep.
Sue's going to jump onto the next one. It is the next biggest, not the biggest cost, but it's there and thereabouts.
Substantial cost.
Is accommodation.
Yep. Fantastic, thank you. And what didn't let you know is we also spend about $25 a month on fuel for the boat.
Fuel for the boat.
Now, I know that's not a lot of money, but you know I'm the Minister of Finance, so every $25...
Yeah. Now, most of you might not travel with a boat, but we have a boat, so that is in our budget.
Right. Accommodation. Right, so accommodation, when we left Brisbane, we budgeted for $25 per night, which equated to $750 per month. And the reason we budgeted that was because our first caravan, we weren't set up for off-grid, number one, and we needed to be plugged into power so I could work, and we also needed to be around an internet connection so that I could work. So our plans were sort of $25 a night. That would get us showgrounds wherever we were. What we've actually managed to do is pull that back, because we've now got a setup that allows us off-grid camping and has a better power system. We've actually reduced that to around about anything between $500 to $600 a month. And again, it depends. Some months you may spend more, some months you may spend less. But what we do is we look out for the free camps and the low-cost camps. That said, we obviously avoid caravan parks. There's always a reason to go into caravan parks.
It's like we're going to a hotel when we go to a caravan park, because everything comes out, it goes down the washing machine, or we run our washing machine, it's down, it's stretch out in the shower, it's run water, plug in, it's like going into a resort for us.
All the accessories come out, all the pipes and the cords. It's like living on mains. So we live at our caravan park stays, and that's just because they can be pricey, especially if you're traveling with kids. Like, we don't have kids, but our friends constantly say the cost of staying in a caravan park with kids is astronomical, and we've experienced it ourselves. So you chat through that. I can't remember the caravan park.
Well, I think we did touch the base with this, but I'll add it to this video because it's relevant.
Yep.
It's relevant, and we stayed in a caravan park in 2020 in around the Whitsundays area. We're not going to bag anyone out. It worked out that back then was $35 for 2 adults per night outside of school holidays. We returned last year, so 3 years later, was it? Yeah, 2 years later. We returned to that same caravan park, roughly the same time outside of school holidays. It was $65 for that caravan park for 2 adults per night.
Yeah.
And not a lot of room. We were parked. I mean, I had the guy next to me could only park his car in front of my awning.
Yeah.
And literally, they had a car that I had to stay at all the time. That's what you get for that price.
But even the low-cost camps have gone up in price. So when we were staying on the York Peninsula, the first time we stayed on the York Peninsula, which I think was towards late 2021.
Early last year, yep.
Early last year was 2022.
Yeah.
So
late
early last year.
Yeah. Around that Christmas time, yeah.
It was $10 a night or $50 a week. And when we went back towards the end of last year, or was it the beginning of this year? Beginning of this year. So a year apart, it was $20 a night or $100 a week. So it literally doubled in cost.
And
still low cost, but
yeah,
doubled.
And didn't do anything with the services. Like
Yeah,
they said it's to get bins and that, but like we didn't see too many of that going around. But anyway, that's why, you know, that cost has gone up. You know, it's pretty dear. Bobby, you just settle down out there, mate. Bobby's outside because if he knocks over the camera, yeah, I won't be a happy man. Right. I'm moving on to topic number 3. Now, the next most probably...
This is my favourite topic.
Food. Groceries. Now, it's... Like it's a hard one because everyone eats differently, right? So, for us, depending on where you are, because if you're remote, you pay more. If you're in a bit of a town, you're going to pay less. That's fine. That's understandable. We have gone from $150 a week to $200 per week, and that does not include alcohol.
Ooh, no.
That is just on
groceries.
So some weeks. It's so odd because everyone wants to know, like, yeah, well, what's it cost per week, because some weeks are more expensive than others, because this week we might have to buy cleaning materials which will then last a month, and then next week we might have to replace something we didn't buy, and so
like
forth.
Your herbs and spices
are
pretty expensive to replace as well.
And that in that $150, $200 a week now, that just gets us some meat and
fresh fruit and veg.
Fresh veg, milk, bread. Now, bread we have to buy a few times in the week. That's why it's added in within that $200. But that does that add like cool drinks, like cold drinks? Yes. So there you go. Just not alcohol.
No. And alcohol.
No pies, no takeaways, nothing. That's $200 on groceries a week.
Yeah. And just on the topic of alcohol, we haven't disclosed our budget on alcohol.
No.
Because alcohol is elective. So some people enjoy alcohol, some people do not. And that's going to come down to whatever your consumption is per week. Kind of like, you know, your fuel consumption.
People might drink wine. But anyway, that does come in a bit later. All right.
I'll talk about this
insurances. I want to go and grab Bob because he's going to keep the neighbourhood up here.
An absolute racket outside. Jerry thought he could keep it outside, but that's not going to happen.
Come on, buddy.
So quite a big one that nobody really discusses, and I mean it's just part of adulthood, is insurances. And you obviously need or should have, highly advised, insurances on your vehicle and also your caravan. When we initially left, we were obviously in a different setup. But our insurance costs are currently sitting at around $450 per month on the vehicle and the caravan. There he is. Hello, mate. So $450 per month on the car and the van. The insurances have gone up quite substantially. In fact, I think I just received a $40 increase on the vehicle insurance this month alone. It does depend on obviously what vehicle you have, the value of your vehicle, or the state. No, not state, but the value of your vehicle, the type of vehicle, and same for the caravan. But it's something that you really need to budget for because it can either be an ongoing cost, and a hint and a tip.
This is why I didn't want him inside. Sorry, you must probably think why I'm shaking around. He's pulling a rope on my foot. Anyway, sorry.
So the important thing is, if you can afford to pay your insurance premiums annually, there is a saving to be had in that. So you pay it up front, but again, you still need to budget for it. I'll let you do the regos, which comes in with the insurances, really, part and part.
So regos, different states, different costs, and also different vehicles. You would think, because you've got diesel, fuel, 8 cylinders, 6 cylinders, vice versa. So for us, we've broken it down. And another thing, you can pay these yearly, can't you?
You can pay your regos yearly as
well. So
you
must probably be going, well, why don't you pay it yearly?
I've just worked out the monthly cost.
We're trying to work out, a monthly cost. That's right. And also we pay ours monthly because Sue works. Anyway,
Rego. So you got car, van, and boat. We have put $125 a month down for that.
Correct.
Like I said, it can differ for different states and different size vehicles as well. So yeah, it depends. Yep. Pay up front if you want to try and save some money as well. Services and maintenance, I can might as well just do that one.
Not really.
Another thing some people forget about, like you do 10,000 Ks quickly. I mean, we just spoke about 2,000 Ks a month here and there.
2.5 services a year,
There you go. We put away $145 a month. That is for the car, the van, and the boat. Now, the van normally will get a one service a year. I think that's what we do.
Yeah.
One service a year on the van, and the car will generally get 2.5s, and the boat will just get once a year gets a service at wherever I am. If I can find a Merc dealer, I'll phone up ahead and book that in. So you can see all these little things start adding up. You'll be quite shocked with the price towards the end. But
one thing that's important to mention is we obviously are all connected to the world, so we all generally have some sort of phone service contract. That again depends on how often you use your phone. I'm pretty useless, so I only send text messages, and I do know how to check Facebook and Insta and YouTube. That's about it. Derek very active on his phone because obviously he runs all of the socials through it, and he's more technologically savvy than I am. So we've got our phone subscriptions. We've also got the internet or Starlink subscription, which is pretty pricey. So all in all, we actually put across $370 per month. $174 of that is for Starlink, and then the other $196 of that is for our phone services and subscriptions.
Now, there's another way you can cut back as well on costs. You must probably find on every little thing we've done, there's ways you can cut back costs. If you're not worried about the internet and stuff, you can have a phone with a sort of pay as you go SIM card, and you can just top it up as you go. So there's definitely ways I think you can decrease this amount.
So that's what we're doing, because my phone's coming up like literally in the next month.
Yeah, we're not renewing. I've got my old iPhone that Sue's going to take over, and we're not even going to bother.
And I'm going to do pay as you go because I can just link onto the Starlink. So why am I paying for it every month? Yeah, exciting.
So after the phone subscription, so these are the things that keep us going every month. Miscellaneous. Now we've got a few things here: haircuts, broken or replace of items. Let it be a coffee cup, a glass.
We've got to replace the frying pan because the handle's
the frying pan's gone a little bit dicky on us. Clothes, shoes, thongs.
Yeah.
Like people think, one pair of thongs is going to get me through the end. No.
I just had to buy a pair of thongs because mine were like basically walking on paper.
Put it to you this way, I've actually carried 2 sets of thongs, one spare under the bed, because every time my thong is broken, it'll always be out where you can't buy them, and then you're like barefoot for the rest of the time till you can get them. So I actually carry 2 pairs of thongs. My thongs will last roughly 2.5 months, 3 months, because we're up here in the sun. So you're gonna just put thongs on when you go to the shop or drive the car or go for a walk or something. So yeah, so those little things there, we put $200 a month away for that, and then.
Just before you close off, just to mention, the one thing we haven't spoken about is entertainment on the road.
Yeah. Now, so let's just get a cost here first, right? Was that in? So we're gonna add our entertainment cost to our monthly budget, and our that entertainment is going out, pies, coffees. Go to the pub for a pub meal when we're doing pub stays, or we want to meet up with people like we did the other day. And all these things. We've only got
National park passes.
Yeah, just island tours, snorkeling. We put $300 away a month for that. So if we wanted to go and say we want to go do Magnetic Island, it's a bit more than that. Then we obviously have to save some of that. But we've come to a cost of $3,850 per month for the 2 of us. Where's the calculator?
Let me operate the calculation machine.
Work that out.
About $962.50.
That's a week. Now, some weeks will be less, some weeks will be more. You'll understand what I'm saying. If you were to stay sort of at a low cost camp for a week, well, you're saving money on accommodation, and you're saving money on fuel, a little bit on fuel because you got to drive and fetch water and stuff like that.
And entertainment, because if you're out remotely.
Yeah. Now the reason, so could you work out 3550? Because I've taken $300 off because there's a reason behind this.
I know there's a lot of mathematicians out there just doing it in their head, but bear with us.
There might be a few accountants and
many
clever people. I'm not.
$887.50.
I would say you're safe to say $887.50, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's entertainment's going to be different. Now on that weekly fee, there's no alcohol. There's no that $887.50, was it?
Yep.
There's
no entertainment.
I'm going to write that down because I'm going to keep coming back to you.
And the other thing is, we haven't given costs regarding Bobby, because not everyone travels with a dog. We've tried to keep this, general, but if you did want to build in a cost for a dog, it would be dependent on the age of your dog, whether you have pet insurance, what they eat, etc.
So going back to what I was trying to say, so entertainment, we need to, you can add that onto that. That is entirely, people might want to go see, like we're currently, I priced up the other day to go to them whale sharks. It's $950 for 2 adults. I'll let you know now. Unfortunately, there won't be any footage of us swimming with a whale shark. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just we didn't plan ahead and start saving for this a few months ago. So yeah, entertainment, national park fees, ferries, going eating out, breweries, anything, have a breakfast, pies, pink donuts, all of that kind of stuff. That's not in that 870. Now you must probably go, oh, that's a lot of money. Now there's ways you can pull that back a little bit. Cell phones, fuel, distance. Mate,
you travel,
I have tried to pull back on the fuel, and it's that difficult. I know it sounds like 2,000
because we travel the way we travel. But if you were parking up and staying in the same place for a week, 2 weeks at a time, you're not going to be doing as much.
Food, mate, that 200 a week up here ain't going to cut it. I can tell you that. But it's an average. We've done an average. So yes, it might be cheaper down when we were in Carnarvon. We bought remember it was $557 for 5 weeks worth of food.
Yep.
That did not include eggs, bread and milk on top, like your day-to-day stuff, because we can only carry so many stuff and it goes off. So that's the fee that we live on.
Yeah.
And
we've spoken to a lot of families on the road, and generally, like, the quotation is anywhere and generally around that $1,000 a week.
Which we're not far off. We're not far off.
No, we're not. And we do know some couples who do it for around $700 a week. We know some people that spend $1,500 a week. That all comes into how many family members do you have, what lifestyle do you have, what are you doing in terms of entertainment, are you staying in caravan parks, are you staying in free camps?
Yeah.
I would just rather be cautious and let you know, $1,000 a week, I know you're going to be okay. You're definitely going to be okay.
For 2 adults. Like I think
100%.
We don't have the kids, but we've chatted to 2 couples here today. You're looking at between 1.3 and 1.5 with the kids. The reason being as well is what they tell us is caravan parks will charge up to $15 extra a kid. You're buying a whole heap more food.
Yeah, you go to the bakery for a pie. It's not one pie and one coffee. It's like 4 or 5 pies.
So I can see where they're going with that. And then obviously your entertainment, because you've got the extra, and one family has 2 kids and one family had 3 kids. So ballpark figures 1.3 to possibly even 1.5.
Yep.
And they don't stay in caravan parks a lot.
No.
So it's getting pretty dear out there.
Yeah. But the good news is there are opportunities to save money.
Yes.
Free camping, less mileage, being more frugal in terms of your groceries and sort of what you're eating, and limiting your entertainment. It's still possible.
But we're still having a good time.
We are.
I still think it's cheaper to live on the road than live in the city paying rent or paying
And that's
mortgage,
the other thing, like, costs are rising at home as well. Like, we can sit here and we can complain saying, oh, it's getting so expensive on the road. But the reality is, I believe, like, the cost of we haven't lived in a house for a long time, but the cost of gas has more than doubled. So yeah, it's
I also
not a
would just
bad-
like to
bad
say,
idea.
guys, like, I think something we forgot, which is pretty important. This figure, this is if you pretty much like sold your house and bought your car and van cash to do this
You
trip.
don't have to sell your house if
We don't have to sell,
yeah.
but we did not take the costs in of running our or it's turned into an investment property. It's our primary residence that
Yeah.
we just rent out. I
And
wouldn't say
also,
it's
it doesn't
investment,
include
but-
if your van or your vehicle is financed.
Yeah. So like our costs for the house, so insurances, the pool guy, blah blah blah. That's not included in this. This is if you've set sail and you pay for everything. That can still be on top of that.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. So if you we do have a little bit of finance on some stuff, but Sue does work a full-time job, so and that does cover it. But this is if you've basically got no hidden costs like that. So we just thought we'll cover that. But enough dribble from the two of us this week. We are enjoying life. It is the sun has been out. It's been great. I don't know if you can see it. Put a little down.
Oh, stop
Anyway,
it.
guys, no, seriously, guys, remember, live life and explore and enjoy the rest of these few days. From myself, Sue and Bobby, thank you so much for everyone. I hope this has helped you and your plans to travel Australia. But, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see ya.